If you're brand new to videography, let's say you have a smartphone and you're already taking some good video, but you really want to take things to the next level, friend, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to spend your money on first. And believe it or not, it's not lights, it's not even a camera, it's actually a microphone. You've got to have some way to capture clear audio because let's face it, most people are okay sitting through a subpar video as long as it sounds good to our ears, but the moment it starts to sound like it was filmed in a garage, that's when we're pretty quick to turn it off. So today I'm gonna walk you through the 4 microphones that I use most often, just about on every shoot, why I use them, what their purpose is, and how you can get clear, consistent audio every single time by using a bit of redundancy so that no matter your environment, you know you're gonna be good. What I'm gonna do now is actually just take you through each of the 4 microphones that I use, and I'll let you actually hear. I'm gonna flip to the microphone that I'm speaking to so that you know what it sounds like and why I would use that. Now, the first microphone I want to talk about is actually my shotgun microphone. This is the mic that you hear in just about every single one of my YouTube videos. And the reason I choose this mic is because it's positioned in a way that mimics your ears. When we have a conversation with folks, we're not usually pressed up right against the body like a lavalier mic or a condenser mic if we're singing into that sort of thing. A shotgun mic is typically positioned 2 or 3 feet away from the subject, above the head, slightly out of frame, and aimed down at the chest. This way, you're getting a lot of the resonance of the vocals, but also that upper chest region as well. It sounds very clear, very natural, and a shotgun mic does a pretty good job of filtering out anything that's behind it. So any room tone or outside noise, anything that's unwanted and that sort of thing. So I'm actually gonna get out of my chair and zoom out so you can see this is my Rode NTG2 shotgun mic. I really have a hard time saying that, but this is the mic that I use most often in my videos. I'll zoom back in here. And again, I use that in this setting because it's a controlled environment and it's the closest thing I've found to sound to my ears as though I was speaking to a friend. Now, another mic that I'll often use depending on what type of video I'm shooting, if it's like a voiceover and I'm showing you how to edit inside of Premiere Pro, I'll use a condenser microphone, much like this Audio-Technica AT2035. I bought this thing more than a decade ago. But you'll see if I start talking into this mic here, I almost have to bring my voice down a little bit because it's designed to capture the sibilance. It's designed to capture the full dynamic range of the human voice. This is what I would use to sing into if I was recording a song, but it also works really well for voiceover situations, or if you got that radio voice and you really want to get deep and clear and consistent audio, that's when I'm going to use this Audio-Technica or just a condenser mic in general. There are a lot of them on the market, but this just gives you an idea of what I'm often using in my voiceover videos. Now, one thing I do need to point out when using either the shotgun mic or the condenser mic, you've got to have a way to power them externally. Most of these types of mics don't come with internal power. Now, the NTG2, it's an older model of a mic. It does have a AA battery inside of it that's supposed to power it, but I typically run everything through my Focusrite 2i2 interface. I don't know if you can see it blinking back there on my desk, but I'm running everything through that. It has a built-in preamp. It's got the 48 volts of phantom power required for both of these microphones. So when I'm in this setting, I'm able to use that every single time and have that consistent power that's needed. But if I'm ever out in the field and I'm shooting an event or something, I usually have a field recorder, much like the Zoom H4 Essential handy recorder. You can see it's got 2 inputs here down at the bottom. I'll just hold that up a little bit there. And I can actually record right out of the top of it, but I'm usually plugging one or both of my mics right into the bottom here. These XLR, it's just an XLR cable or a mic cable, but this has that 48 volts of phantom power as well to power those mics. So when I'm out of the house or out of the studio and I don't have access to my Focusrite, I'm using a field recorder, much like this one here. Now, the next mic I'm gonna talk about, you've seen it on my shirt this entire time. It's my lavalier mic. This is a pretty cheap mic I bought off of Amazon. I think it's newer. I really have no idea how to say that, but you probably know what I'm talking about if you've looked up mics recently on Amazon. It's a lavalier mic kit. A lot of times you'll see them connected to a cord like this with a little microphone that can attach right inside. A lot of times what I'm doing is I'll actually have a subject or my talent, I'll put it through their shirt and just pop this little guy off, especially if they're wearing like a collared shirt, polos, button-ups. Those are really handy because you can hide it right inside of the lavalier. lapel. They're also called lapel mics. You can hide it within the lapel of like a suit coat jacket or any sort of formal wear like that. But in this day and age, you see everybody on Instagram and YouTube and all those places just attaching it right to the shirt. I actually don't like this look. I think it could look better and a little more professional, but for the sake of this video, I just wanted you to be able to see what it is that I'm talking about. You can actually see it blinking here. You can see that it's got the little red light, tells me that it's blinking. This one actually comes with a noise canceling feature, which is really cool. And the kit that I bought has 2 lav mics and a receiver, little charging case as well. I think it was like $79, so really good price. But these mics are really good for when you're outdoors or your talent, your subject is moving and you're not able to track them with a boom pole if you don't have someone else running audio. If you're a solo videographer like I am, you need some way to capture clear audio, even if they're at a distance from the camera or if they're on the move. If it's a noisy environment, sometimes having a mic much closer to your subject in their mouth can filter out some of the things, the unwanted noise, and you're just getting the clarity of their voice. Now, as I mentioned, this is a cheaper mic system, so I'm not overly in love with the quality, but it is better than just speaking to my camera across the room because you're getting a lot of the reflections of the wall and the room. And to give you that example, the 4th and final microphone that I use on just about every shoot is a tiny shotgun mic that I actually have attached directly to my camera. I won't be able to show this to you because it's connected to my camera right now, but it's connected by like a headphone jack, just plugs right into the camera. And the reason I have this on there is so that it can easily capture the audio, the dialogue that I'm speaking, but later in post-production, I'm gonna use that to sync up either with my shotgun mic or with my lav mic, with my condenser, whatever mic that I am using, the external mic. I'm just using that to sync up the audio, then I mute that track and I never listen to it again. If you hear me talking, you can hear the reflections in the room, right? This mic is probably 5 or 6 feet away from me, so my vocals are a little quieter. I'm having to boost a lot of the signal in post-production, and every time I raise that floor, I'm raising up those reflections, I'm raising up that noise, that background noise that you're hearing. And so I really don't like to shoot with that mic. Now, if you're a vlogger and you're doing the handheld thing and you got your camera right up next to your face, then by all means, use that mic. In fact, the kit that I bought with my Canon EOS R8, it came with this shotgun mic attached to it, and it was designed for vloggers. It even had a tiny little tripod that you could hold it with, but I don't want to use it for that. I just wanted to put it on a tripod and shoot videos like this. And when I'm on site, I'm not using that mic except for just to sync audio. So the 4 mics that I'm typically using are, just running back through the list, my Rode NTG2 shotgun mic. So many good shotgun mics on the market. Doesn't have to be Rode, could be Sennheiser, could be insert any brand that you prefer. A lot of good options, both on the cheaper end of the spectrum and on the high end spectrum as well. This one's pretty middle of the road, but no pun intended. The NTG2 is a pretty old model compared to some of the newer models that Rode has come out with. So I would check those out if you're interested. Again, I'll just pick up my Audio-Technica AT2030. I actually don't think that they make this model anymore. Again, I bought this, honestly, at this point, it's probably pushing 15 years. I think I was still in high school when I bought this mic, and it has served me so well. So this thing has lasted. You take care of your stuff and it's going to last forever. But they have, I think the AT2020 is still on the market, somewhere around the $200 range. But Audio-Technica makes great mics, but there are a million condenser mics out there. The Shure SMB7, the podcasting mics that you see all over the place. There's so many good options, but that is one that I would certainly recommend having in your arsenal. Of course, the lavalier mics that we've talked about, this is probably the most inexpensive route to go. So if you are getting started, maybe a lav mic is a place that you invest. Again, this 2 lav kit that I bought was somewhere around $79 on Amazon. Is the quality, top notch? Not so much, but it does the job. It gets me by, and I've had some pretty great success using them so far. So again, with this mic, I don't need an external recorder. I don't need phantom power or anything like that. But with the shotgun mic and the condenser mic, you are going to need that external source of power. So keep that in mind. Then of course, the last mic that we've talked about, your camera probably does have a built-in mic used for the purposes of syncing audio. It's not really designed to capture clear audio, but if you're going to be doing any sort of vlogging or that sort of thing, try getting a camera-mounted shotgun mic. Rode actually makes a little shotgun mic that attaches on there as well. The one I have is straight from Canon. I think it's the E100 or D100. I'm not even sure what model it is. It's got a little fuzzy dead cat on there, but works great for me for the purposes that I use it when I need to sync up my audio in post. Now, friend, I talked about redundancy a little bit at the beginning of the video. Recently, I did a couple of different shoots. One of them was we did 3 videos. 2 were in a noisy warehouse. The third video was in a conference room. And so what I did is I brought my shotgun mic, but I also had my subject with, in fact, it was this lavalier mic. And I did that because the warehouse, we were close to a server room. There was a lot of humming and there's just some noises in this warehouse, echoes and all that good stuff. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to capture the clear audio that I wanted straight out of my shotgun mic. So just to be safe, I threw the lavalier mic on, hoping that I'd be able to get something a little more clear that could filter out some of the background noise. And I ended up actually using the lav mic for both of the warehouse videos. But the moment we went into the quieter conference room, the only thing I was coming up against there was a little bit of AC. And so I still had the lavalier mic on my subject, but I boomed my shotgun just to be sure. I wasn't sure which option would sound the best in that environment. And as it turns out, I was getting a lot of rustling from his clothes, from his shirt. It was a quieter environment. Those are the things that I wasn't hearing in the warehouse video because he was projecting much louder. When we were in this quieter conference room, he spoke a little quieter, a little softer. And so I was hearing a lot of the noise just from the material of his shirt, and ended up using all of the audio from the boom pole or from the shotgun mic on the boom pole. Now, that being said, I also did a shoot at a celebration of life event. A lot of folks outside. We were sitting around a pool, but we were just outside in a backyard. There's a beautiful pond, very picturesque, but you had lawnmowers going off in the neighborhood and you had people coughing and making noises in the crowd. And so for that instance, I actually had lavalier mics on all the speakers. I had my tiny little shotgun mic attached to my camera itself. And then I actually used my field recorder. I took this bad boy, just put it on a stand. There's like a threaded spot here. I didn't attach any mics to this. I just put it on a tripod and I put it on the floor next to the speakers. There was a woman that played guitar and did some singing as well. And I just kind of aimed it up at her feet. It was out of frame of my camera. So where I was shooting, you couldn't even see it. But this is what captured a lot of that audio that was just from folks kind of coming up and speaking. But then the main speakers, we had one gentleman give a eulogy, a good friend, and then we had a pastor as well give a eulogy. And both of those gentlemen I had mic'd up with the lavalier mics to get that clear audio and filter out some of that background noise as well. So there's always going to be a place for microphones. I'm always going to recommend investing heavily in this area and getting every type of microphone because you never really know what your environment is going to call for. But if you are just getting started in video, like the beginning of this video, I said, invest in the lavalier mics. That's probably going to be the most reasonably affordable way to get started with clear audio. And you're not limited by phantom power. You're not limited by cables or anything like that. You'll have a receiver. You'll have your lav mics. As long as everything is charged or has batteries in the units themselves, mine are rechargeable, you're good to go. So friend, I hope this has been helpful, just shedding some light in the areas of where you should be investing in the very beginning of your video journey. I know it's tempting to look at the cameras and you want to feel like a real videographer, right? You want to have the camera and show up and say, I know what I'm doing. But honestly, if you're going to produce high quality content and you show up with an iPhone, but you get clear, consistent audio, your client is going to be really excited about the result to see what you were able to produce. The image quality is still going to be great from your iPhone. And depending on how you frame it up, that can go a long way. But having that clear audio is going to make all the difference in your video. Now, friend, if you want to learn more about all of the other gear related to videography, go to guidedproductions.com/studio gear guide. I've created a PDF guide as my film studio gear guide where I outline all of the gear needed to create high quality content and nothing more, right? I'm not talking about all the bells and whistles, all the extra accessories, all the things that make your camera look cool or make you look cool as a videographer. I'm talking about the essentials of creating high quality professional content. I package everything with hyperlinks that take you directly to the websites needed to purchase this gear. These aren't affiliate links. I'm not sponsored by any of these organizations. It's just gear that I have either used personally or someone I know that I highly respect has had great success using this gear. So all things come highly recommended. At the very end of this document, I even package different bundles. So based on your budget, if you're coming in with a couple $100 to spend, I can tell you everything that you should be focusing on with that amount of money, all the way up to $3,000 or $4,000 to spend. And I can show you where to put it there as well. Just go to guidedproductions.com/studio gear guide and get your free copy today. It's my way of saying thanks for hanging out with me. Now, friend, I hope this has been encouraging and helping you understand where to put your initial investment as you start your video journey. Get out there, capture some clear audio, create something amazing, and I will see you on another video real soon.